let's talk about family. It seems like such a simple word, right? But the language we use to describe it is, well, it's anything but simple. Today, we're going to dive into the words we use for family, from the deep bonds that connect us to the tough words we use when things get complicated. It's a really fascinating look at how we define our most important relationships.
So let me ask you, what really makes a family? Is it just about blood, shared experiences, or is it something else? As we're about to see, the words we use, our vocabulary, it actually gives us a whole bunch of different answers to that exact question. So here's our game plan. We're going to follow the whole life cycle of a family through its language. We'll start with the family tree, and then we'll dig into what those relationships are actually like. We'll also touch on some of the tough stuff, when paths split apart, before we get to the really happy parts, new beginnings, and finally, raising the next generation. All right, first up, the modern family tree. To really get a handle on all this, we've got to start with the basic structure. From that small core group all the way out to the sprawling network of relatives. Okay, so we usually talk about two classic setups. First, there's the nuclear family. That's super simple. It's just the parents and their kids. And then you've got the extended family, which is, well, it's the whole crew. We're talking grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, the whole shebang. Now, let's zoom in a bit. When you hear someone say close family or immediate family, they're really talking about their nearest blood relatives. So think your parents, your siblings, and your kids. They're like the absolute heart of that family tree. And on the other hand, you've got your distant relatives. These are the folks way out on the other branches. A perfect example is a second cousin. So that's the child of one of your parents' cousins. I know, it can get a little complicated, but hey, that's what these words are for. But look, family isn't just some diagram of who's who, right? It's all about the quality of those connections. And lucky for us, our language has some fantastic, really descriptive ways to talk about those bonds. Here's a perfect example. The term close-knit family. You can just picture it, can't you? This isn't about how physically close you live. Nope. It's all about having those incredibly strong, supportive, emotional bonds with each other. And you'll hear people say this all the time, usually with a lot of pride. When someone says, "We're a very close-knit family," it just instantly tells you everything you need to know about their connection and support system. It's a simple phrase, but boy, does it carry a lot of weight. Of course, family dynamics can run the whole gamut. On the one side, you've got positive words like loving or respectful to describe those healthy connections. But on the flip side, for relationships that are unhealthy, even damaging, the term we often reach for is dysfunctional. And sometimes those bonds just break entirely. The word we use for this is estranged. It means you've completely cut off contact with a relative, usually after some kind of big, painful falling out. It's a really powerful word that signals a deep break. That idea of bonds breaking kind of leads us into our next topic, which can be a little difficult. We're talking about when paths diverge. When families go through huge changes like separations, our language gets very, very specific, and often it's pretty emotionally charged. Take the phrase acrimonious divorce. Now, this isn't just any old separation. That word, acrimonious, tells you that this split is absolutely jam-packed with anger, bitter arguments, and just a lot of bad feelings all around. It's really that high level of conflict and negativity that defines it. It's what makes it such a uniquely painful experience for everyone who's involved. And naturally, these kinds of events shape how we talk about the home itself. A stable home, that phrase suggests a solid foundation of love and security. On the other hand, a term like broken home has traditionally been used to describe a family where the parents have split up. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about something way happier. Starting a new chapter. Family life is also about growth and joy, and we have a whole vocabulary just for welcoming new members into the mix. You hear these common phrases all the time. People talk about wanting to start a family, or they might say they want to have children. Then you hear that someone is expecting a baby. And right before the big day, we say, the baby is due. Each one marks a little step on that incredible journey. And, reflecting modern life, a really key part of our vocabulary today is the term single parent. That's someone who's raising their kid or kids all on their own, building a family on their own terms. All right, for our final section, let's get into the work of family life that never really stops, raising the next generation. This is all about nurturing and building, and, you guessed it, it comes with its own sets of essential phrases. we talk about raising or bringing up children. That's the whole long-term gig of caring for them until they're adults. In situations like a divorce, a parent might have to apply for custody. Of course, a core responsibility for many is to provide for your family, meaning earning enough money to support everyone. And a huge milestone is when you set up home, starting your own independent life. So when you pull it all together, it's pretty clear these words aren't just definitions in a book. They tell a story, don't they? A story of connection, of distance, of joy, of hardship, of building and rebuilding. It's a vocabulary that really does cover the entire journey of life. And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. The idea of what a family is. Well, it's always evolving. So the big question is, how will our language evolve right along with it? What new words are we going to need in the future to describe our most important connections? It's pretty cool to think about, isn't it?